Good evening everyone and welcome to CRC. We are here for LMP3. It is round 2 action from the Autodromo Internacional de Algarve here from Portugal. Good evening everyone, of course I'm James here, going to be taking you through the action as always on this fine Saturday evening, and joining me in the commentary box is one half of last year's CRC Constructors Champions and the former Drivers Champion in himself. It is of course Sean, better known as 007 Professional. How are you doing?
Hey James, really good to be here. Good evening. Excited for a really good race tonight at Algarve. I know round 1 at Daytona was pretty exciting, so we're going to continue that action tonight here in Algarve. Again, good to be here. Thanks.
It is good to be here as well, and I think honestly having your expertise and having your real technical eye is certainly going to be very key, I think, going forward within CRC. And of course we have got you for the rest of the season, hopefully. Ash obviously filled in last week. Yeah, obviously Yep. You were missing last week. Obviously you caught up on the action as well. I'm saying obviously a lot, so why don't you take us through what happened last week?
Yeah, so we got Harry H Racing Green, who won, really taking a demanding lead at the beginning here in Daytona, so he set up for a really good race tonight. And the rest of the field was just, I mean, action packed the whole way. So we're in good for a lot of good action here tonight. Yeah, I'm excited as we get going here. The lobby is counting down 3, 2, 1 to get started.
Yep, qualifying about to begin. Let me run you through then what happened last week. It was, of course, H Racing Green taking a very dominant win out on track, and the Brit now leads in the championship by 6 points, coming into tonight on 23 points respectively. Speedster in second on 17 points. He looks like he's been quickest out of everyone so far. Nissim in third on 15 points, with Andy in fourth on 13. Zandamar in fifth on 11. We've got Flaky in sixth on 10. Emmanuel in seventh on 9. Tiger Cart in 8th on 8. Sam Hesketh, best of the newbies so far, in 9th on 7 points. Darren Sinclair in 10th on 6. Mael in 11th on 5. That's ILRT Mael. High Grade in 12th on 4 points. Matter in 13th on 3. And Bart in 14th on 2. And hopefully with Bart, he will not pick up a time penalty 10 seconds into the race. Front wing, or rear wing for that matter as well. Coming into the constructors as well, HRT Esports taking an early lead. It's quite close. Don't judge a big by its cover just down through. Invicta Bellissimo Racing in second on 20. In third on 24 points. Bulldog Racing in fourth on 19 points. ILRT Janetta team for ILRT on 13. Wilson Racing in 7th on 9, and Hot on the Wheels. Don't know who named that team, to be honest, but they're on 4 points in 8.
That's a great name.
It's a fantastic name. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And obviously we have got some of the action already happening out on track. We've got first the cars coming out now. Just trying to pick on board actually who was first, as Flaky has picked up a grid place penalty for pit lane violation.
You probably speeded out of the pit lanes, maybe got a bit too hasty on the gas. Either that or crossed the pit lane line. But either way, that's such a shame. Just so early in the session, already picking up a penalty.
Ah, there we go. We have got our first man out on track. It took me about 30 seconds to find him, but Bart is the first man out on track. Obviously, as you say, Flecky has picked up a grid place penalty. It's not really ideal, but he was one of the slower guys in pre-qualifying, so he might actually be okay. He might start from the back of the grid, depending on his lap time. Talk us through then what we can expect at Algarve. Quite a lot of elevation change, and I think honestly quite a lot of overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. This track is like a lot of elevation changes. Sorry, I can't talk. A lot of elevation changes. Turn 1, turn 2, the braking into that is actually quite challenging to get the braking right. If you brake too late, you're going wide, picking up a penalty. Brake too early, possibly hopping the curb on the inside, really unsettling the car. So as Bart begins to begin his lap, we'll see how he manages with those 2 corners, which will set him up really well for the rest of the track.
Yeah, so Bart about to come through Primeira, which is Portuguese for number 1, essentially, or Premier,
yeah,
and he's run very wide.
Just as I warned, but just runs very wide.
Yeah, that'll be him picking up, I think, a penalty with the race director, or certainly a warning with the race director for running wide, yeah. But looking good on his lap anyways. He's through Lagos and now down towards Torre Vip down at turn 5. Very tricky braking zone this, and again reaching about 150 mile an hour down into the corner. Very nice there from Bart. Taking first gear, don't take second gear through there because you'll end up spinning the rear of the car like I did when I was doing some time trial laps around here. And by the looks to me, Bart might have backed out of this one.
Yeah, he looks to be taking it kind of easy, just kind of watching his lines that he's taking. He's taking really good lines to set him himself pretty well for Sector 3. Nice sweeping left there.
Right at the top of the hill.
Very quiet, aggressive line there. The curbs.
Very aggressive line. What is the best line to take through Portimao at the top of the hill? Through 10 and 11, is it to go wide and then deep into the apex, or is it to go deep into the apex, then find the second apex, and take a much deeper line into the corner?
You would think to take like a wider line in, kind of cut in late, take a late apex is the faster way. I've kind of found in these cars, I've done some testing here a few days ago, kind of keep tight to the curbs. Don't get on the curbs, as we just saw. If you get on the curbs, you get the car quite unsettled and gets quite skirmish. So as tight as you can, kind of hold the power, hold the speed through, and then get on the power as soon as you can. A straight line exit. Otherwise, you risk losing that back end, as we've seen.
Yeah, Barton validating his lap time there. Sam coming across the line to go first. Nissim, in the meantime, is coming around the final corner. Racing at home has gone quickest currently, 136.5. Nice laps being set so far. Nissim now across the line. Let's see what he can do. He goes second. So quite a close qualifying session early, but already trumped by H Racing Green, who goes quickest. He feels he's already done enough. He goes to the top of the 36 flat. Quicker than Speedster in pre-qualifying.
That's quite a good lap, and I expect him to get into the 38s, or sorry, the 35s quite easily. We see actually P4, P5, P6, all within about 2.5 tenths. So that's a good battle to watch as well.
Yeah, less than 5 tenths of a second actually separating from second down to 6th, and then include in the guys like down to 10th, and you've got pretty much second to 10th covered by just over a second out on track. No room for error for some of these guys, I think, out on track. One ball with the manual, just coming towards Portimao. About 5 minutes through, if you're just tuning in, there's a spinner off in the background.
Yeah,
that might have been
manual goes very wide there. Hopefully that won't be an invalidation. He looks to be okay, though.
He does look to be okay. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's already set a lap as well, so it was just on a down lap, maybe.
Gotcha. And that was a lot of speed there.
Manuel taking it very nicely through Sagres and then down towards Galpa turn 14. This is my favourite corner of any track that I commentate on. Look at the camber change coming through turn 14. Very nice from Emmanuel.
That bump too, like at the start of the corner, you kind of get that weird bump, the weird elevation change, and it kind of just sucks the car in if you can get it just right and carry all that speed down into the first corner.
Yeah, Emmanuel.
One of my favorites as well, James.
Yeah, Emmanuel having his lap time invalidated there, track limits. So, Speedster's gone top.
That run wide there. Yeah.
Sorry to cut in there. Speedster on top by a tenth.
So Speedster and H Racing Green, top two. That's going to be, because they've had a good rivalry in Daytona and especially in touring cars as well. So this will be interesting.
I think as the track evolves as well, we're certainly seeing quicker lap times being set. Miles just gone up to third, the Frenchman with a 136.3. I mean, less than and he just spins there, but less than a second separating the top 9.
We're set for a good race, especially if it's an hour long. The long endurance race is going to really test the guys if they're consistent throughout the last 20 minutes. The last 15 minutes is where you can make these really stupid mistakes. Spin here, go wide there, pick up a few penalties. So I think a lot of the guys will be good the first half. I think it's the second half that they'll have to watch out for. But if you can get up the grid in qualifying, that's only to help you during the race.
Yeah, Bart just coming across the line there, catching a ball with him, the Dutchman, struggling it seems, 149.5, 13.6 seconds off the pace, but to be honest, the whole field separated by just over 3 seconds. Bart Emmanuel, who hasn't set a lap, I think he's actually just gone on to one. So, Speedster out on top, H Racing Green second, Mile third, and then in fourth, we've got Darren Sinclair, who drove a very good race, I think, last the contact that he came up with. Mia Orwoff in fifth as well. looking quite good so far.
They're in a really good position. They're in P4 and P5, and that's very high on the grid. And again, beating Racing at Home, who we missed last week. It's good to see him back tonight. He's putting in a good showing. P6. We got Andy P7. We also have Xandamar down in P13. I really honestly didn't expect to see him down there. So hopefully he's getting ready to put in a good lap.
He's just through the final corner. I thought he was coming into the pit lane there, to be honest, but he is taking the much deeper line, running adjacent to the pit wall, down to the line. There should be an improvement from Xandamar. It is. He only goes 10th, though.
Yeah, that's so well off the pace.
Oh, and H Racing Green's just gone quicker, 135.8. Goes a 10th quicker than Speedster. They're chopping and changing these two at the top. It's brilliant to see.
They're completely in another league. I mean, they're about 4 or 5 tenths clear of P3 and the rest of the field, so they're clearly in a class of their own. Expect to see them kind of just going off in the distance, first 5 laps, but hopefully we can, have a good tight race overall.
Let's run on board then with Speedster as he comes towards Portimao at the top of the hill through Craig Jones. He's got a car just ahead, getting off on track, but Speedster was 500th up. Be very interesting to see what he can do through this middle sector, as that is Portimao.
He goes very wide. He goes very wide entry and then cuts in, if you saw that. So that's a very different line
than I would have taken,
or a lot of other drivers would have taken.
Yeah, he's 3.5 tenths up though. That might be the best line to take, to be honest. And Speedster is looking.
That's probably the line to take. I need to adopt that. That's really fast.
Yeah, Speedster now coming through Galp. I'll tell you what, a 10.5 separating the top 3. Nissan's just gone 3rd, so he's now a 10.5 away from H Racing Green. But I think inevitably we're going to see a fast lap here from Speedster. Let's go to trackside car.
35.5, 35.6. Let's see what it is.
35.4, I think he might sneak, to be honest. Speedster coming across the line.
A 35.3. Oh. Oh, man, that's...
I have a feeling that's going to take some beating.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure. I mean, we got Harry on a lap, I think, or getting ready for one. He looks to be the only one that can beat that time, and honestly, it's going to have to be a near perfect lap from Harry, from H Racing Green.
Going to be very interesting. Actually, just interesting to point out, looking at the right-hand side, he's only got 3.4 litres of fuel, just dropping down there to 3.3. Very low fuel run from Harry. Hopefully he's going to be trying, as Mia Orloff has left the session. I think he was well up there within the top 6 or 7. So Mia Orloff has just disconnected from the session. He had a lap time invalidation due to track limits. But it looks like he's disconnected from the session. But H Racing Green...
come back within.
Yeah, just interesting to note though, H Racing Green, 2.5 litres of fuel. This is a this is like a last gasp sort of attempt, this.
Yeah, no kidding, it's been crossing the line on fumes.
2.4 litres. The fuel wear actually goes off quite quickly around here. So drivers might have to think pitting, to be honest, in this hour.
Possibly. But I was talking to some drivers before the race started today, and they all think that they should be good on fuel. But if you're quite aggressive and if certain things happen, then hey, we may get a splash and dash at the end of the race to see if everybody can make it.
Harry needs to nail this lap. H Racing Green, obviously our winner last time out in Daytona. Speedster's still out on top. Yep. He looks like he feels like he's done enough. Andy's left the session. So I'm not sure if some of these guys may be streaming their POVs, might be having some disconnection issues with Jake's end, but we'll try and get an update on that. Yeah. It's a 10.5 up in the middle sector, H Racing Green. This is not looking overly quick, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Some of his lines are really, really good. Some of them are, okay. He's taking really good speed, but we'll see what happens when he crosses the line. Looked quick the first half of the lap, and maybe getting ready for another one, or just, I'm not sure.
Into the pits, I think.
What happens.
Oh, there's a cone on the right-hand side there. Nearly ran over it. H Racing Green, though, going to go to the line. 0.2 litres of fuel left.
He improves.
Yeah. But he found a lot in that final sector.
It's got to be, yeah.
And a lot in that final sector. Miles just gone quicker, he's gone up to 6th. Nissim's gone 4th as well. We've also got Mia Orloff and Andy back in the session.
Racing at home is in 3rd. It's a really good lap by Racing at Home.
Good spot. I didn't even spot that, to be honest. This is why you're the co-coms here. I didn't even spot that. Racing at Home in 3rd, 35.7. But remember, Mia Orloff, who I think I'm under the impression was in the top 7, and Andy, who was in the top 12. both disconnected from the session, so they're going to have to get back in to set another lap. It's so frustrating. They're only going to have really one chance at it.
And there's only 2.5 minutes to go in the session. I'm not sure if they even get back. They're going to have time. Here they go. They just got back. Andy and Mia Wolf down at the bottom, 15th and 16th. They're going to have to get out, I mean, now, to set any sort of lap time, and the pressure's going to be on them to try and get back what they had before.
Just run on board with Nissim coming around the final corner at Galp. Again, one of my favourite corners, I think, out on track that I'll ever commentate on around T1 Project Cars. Nissim across the line. I think he's just starting off on the lap. He must have made a mistake because he's 3 seconds off in the end. Darren Sinclair's gone 5th, 136.1. He's looking quite consistent, to be honest, the Scotsman.
He is, and he's kind of been under the radar. I don't think much people have noticed him. He's a newcomer this season, a rookie in CRC, so it's really good to have some newcomers come in. He's putting in a very good showing in P5, and he may upset a few of the competitors around, kind of sneak in there and get some of the good points today.
Yeah, and good evening, by the way, to everyone that is tuning in within the comments section. Of certain Francis McGinn has joined us. Normally his forays are on GT Sport nowadays, but Francis is in the session. Good to see you in. And of course we've got Ash commenting and Maze commenting as well. Good to see everyone here tonight. Hopefully you're all enjoying this action. We've only got a minute to go, so we've got the nitty and gritty really coming up within the session. Speedster out on top. Can H Racing Green find about 0.2 of a second to take Paul off him? Because Speedster feels he's done enough.
He has, and Speedster's in the pits, so he's obviously done. He's going to be watching his screens and watching H Racing Green as he really tries to. He's on the limit. I can see it, really extending as much as he can, bringing as much speed as he can into this hairpin. Really hard braking into here.
Oh, I thought he went a bit too wide there, to be honest. But actually,
I thought so too.
Yeah, prioritised the run out of the corner. This is looking good. Let's see his first sector split. Oh, and he's a 1/10 up. He's right on the limit. He's 3 thousandths off, theoretically, off Speedster. My goodness me,
he's
he
taking
needs
really
to
good
improve.
lines. Look at that. That was a really good exit. He's going to be carrying all the speed here. I expect him to be at least 2.5 tenths up after this delta.
Could even be 3 tenths up, maybe.
Up Portimao.
Oh, and he spun through Portimao! H Racing Green, his qualifying hopes have gone. And H Racing Green cannot improve. He's going to have to be reliant on nobody improving behind him. Racing at Home has just started a lap. We've got Nissim and Darren Sinclair on laps as well. Sinclair coming around the final corner. What can the Scotsman do? Can he improve up towards Speedster and H Racing Green? He's 0.8 of a second off at the minute. Can he improve now across the line? He does. He improved 36 flat, 0.6 off. He only gained about 0.2 of a second there, if I'm not mistaken. So Sinclair remains 5th. Nissim is further up on the lap as well. He's just coming through Portimao. We'll just ride on board with Matter, who's coming around the final corner, and then we'll go back on board with Nissim, who'll come across the line. Matter coming across the line. Can he improve from 9th? He doesn't. So Matter, no improvement from him. And Nissim into the pits. He must have made a mistake.
Yeah, he had just aborted that lap and felt it wasn't good enough. We got Racing at Home on a lap. Nearing the end, he's taking about to enter the last corner here.
Let's see what he can do in this final sector through Galp at turn 14. Beautiful through.
Love that shot.
He's into the pit. Oh, I thought he was. I thought he was leading into the pits. Goodness me, he's running across
he almost
onto the
knocked the barricade there.
Racing at Home across the line. Oh, he goes second.
Wow, so yeah, every inch counts, every millimeter counts. He was really going for it. He saw that on the delta and was trying to take as much road as he could. Emmanuel beast coming through.
Emmanuel goes 8th, final one to come across the line, 1.1 seconds off. But at the end of the day, Speedster, that lap could not be defeated. The American takes it on top, Racing at Home in second, H Racing Green in third, and only just over 1/10 of a second separating the top 3. The closest qualifying we've had so far this season in LMP3s. We've got Nissim in 4th, Darren Sinclair in 5th, Mael in 6th, Tiger Kart 7th, Emmanuel in 8th, Zandemar 9th, Matter in 10th, Sam Hesketh in 11th, Bart in 12th, Flaky 13th with that one-place grid penalty, so high grade will start above him, so Flaky will be in 14th, Mia Olwoff in 15th, and Andy unsuccessfully couldn't get a lap in, and unfortunately for him, apparently he's Jamaican as well.
Apparently he's Jamaican today. Yeah.
You have to love the game sometimes, honestly. He is definitely Scottish. Scottish, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not
I've
Jamaican.
heard the guy talk. I mean,
Goodness
he's on my team for crying out loud. Yeah, that's crazy. Jamaican.
But
He's on the game.
yeah, we have got qualifying over and done with here. Speedster racing at home, H Racing Green, all separated by just over 1/10.5 of a second. Who is your money on to take the win tonight?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm probably gonna put it on. I'm probably racing at home to take the victory. I'm gonna put an outsider out there on the win tonight. I think he's got the head. He knows what to do. He's actually split Speedster and split Harry. As we know, who have a good rivalry going. So he's kind of put himself in there in P2, looked for him to kind of maybe dive down the inside and send it in T1, and then kind of see what he can do from there. That is my pick for P1.
So racing at home from second is your pick for the win here tonight in Algarve. Quite interesting, I think. Honestly, well, I think we're going to have a bit of a showdown between Speedster and H Racing Green. I think we were robbed of that in Daytona. Speedster obviously getting caught up in early contact. Came from 8th to 2nd that day and was closing in on H Racing Green near the end of the race as well. Looking at some of the comments as well coming through, Will Murdoch is in the comment section. Good to see you here. And Fran's saying, how do I sign up? He might get back into Project Cars 2. It's a fun game. Maze has just directed him to that. Alan, who runs CRC, the American, my co-commentator for last season as well, he is in charge and the admin for CRC, so you can get in touch with him. Alan Cavagnaro, I think, or Alan Cavi, I think, is his PSN name off the top of my head.
I think you're right.
I hope I'm right. I hope I just haven't given false information to him on the stream there. Goodness me. But yes, Speedster and racing home, this is going to be such a fascinating race, I think. For my prediction for the win, I'm going to have to go Speedster. I think the American was robbed last week in Daytona at his home circuit. We're about to go green. Here we go.
We're about to see what happens turn 1. This is going to be a good rundown.
Light sequence is coming on then here for CRC. Round 2 in Algarve, and to light down, away we go. Oh. Good stop by Nissim. Fantastic stop by Nissim, but was that a jump start?
He's already taken P1. He goes to the lead of the race.
Yeah, going to be too wide down towards turn 1. H Racing Green on Speedster's contacted and racing at home. It's Speedster and H Racing Green, and Speedster's been pulled up right from the start.
In the side.
Unbelievable. Can you write it? Oh, and he's lost his rear wing.
And then he just made it. Oh no.
2 into 1, down into Primera, does not go at all. ILRT Mile have been caught up in that, I think, as well. We've had a disconnect from the session, which I'm not sure who it was. Such a shame. Nissim, though, leads early, racing at home in second. Your prediction actually coming off. So much carnage there. I think there's other people being caught up in incidents, but Emmanuel up to 4th and Andy up to 6th.
Yeah, Andy had a fantastic start and kind of managed to, avoid all that carnage. Jake Slithers into P2. Nissim had the best start out of anybody, coming from P4, P5 on the grid, up into P1, even before turn 1. So his traction off the line was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, flaky on the back of Emmanuel. Trying to get the overtake done there down towards turn 8 through Craig Jones. Didn't quite pull it off. Andy, though, looking quite racy in the meantime in behind. He's in a Monster Energy liveried car. I think that's the wrong livery that he is racing. It might have swapped him into a different livery. I'm not sure. But Andy is in 6th. High Grade, I think, has just spun in the background. Yes, he has. Darren was up to 8th. There is High Grade, just in the rear of shot.
Backwards.
Just rejoining on circuit, I think, there, but 0.3 of a second for the lead of the race at the end of lap 1. It's Nissim who leads, racing at home at second, and I mean, you just dream of advantage that these two have got already. They're over 4 seconds clear of the guy in third, which is Matter.
And it's only, what, lap 3? Lap 2? I mean, that's an amazing gap, and they're just kind of, going off in the distance. They're going to have a nice little battle. I expect racing at home to get past Nissim here sooner than later. He just has to be smart about it, not force anything, and then easy, nice pass, and then kind of do his own race from there. As we see a good battle here with Matt.
Manuel trying to close in down towards turn 5. Can he get the move done? He thinks about it down the inside, doesn't quite pull it off. Sam, Zandamar and Speedster, by the way, all into the pit lane. So Sam, Zandamar and Speedster have got a mountain to climb, quite literally, if they want to try and win this tonight. So unfortunate, but that's what happens sometimes at turn 1. Turn 1 at Algarve may be one of the most contactable, I think, turn ones that you could have on Project Cars 2.
Absolutely, and we just saw it. I mean, you're going from high speed about 160 miles an hour, you know, heavy braking down in turn 1, which is it's more of a kink, you know, it's more of a, it's not a 90-degree angle, you know, it's much more open than that. But there's just a lot of opportunity for crashes. I see Mia Wolf.
Side by side with Darren, I think this is.
Yeah, it is Darren.
Trying to get the move done. I'll tell you what, the Italian, I think, has got this move done, or has he? Because the Scotsman could be on the inside. Yeah, Mia Olof's got it done. So the Italian taking it around the outside through Primera, right at the top of the hill. Sorry, Portimao at the top of the hill. Mia Olaf is through and he's up to 8th. But look who is hunting already on the back of them. H-Racing Green, from being caught up in contact, is in 10th.
He's on a mission. He's going to pass Darren by the end of the start-finish straight.
Darren pulls out on the slipstream. They're going to be side by side. Watch out for this. H-Racing Green should just be a little bit cautious, I think. He is. Mia Olaf, that is why you are cautious in towards turn 1. Contact between Mia and Darren. Darren has luckily got ahead with it, and H-Racing Green's through on Mia Olaf. Contact really was not needed.
Yeah, I think Mia Olaf just kind of maybe late break there. Didn't really expect Darren to be there. And then kind of put his front end into Darren a little bit. So kind of unfortunate, but I think luckily they all got away.
Trying to have a go down the inside there as well, the Italian. Racing home has spun through the double right-hander. Racing home has spun from 2nd place. And Nissim takes the lead by 4 seconds. Matter is through the 2nd as well. Didn't catch that on the stream. I think he just got a bit tail happy possibly through the 2nd right-hander. And he spun just on the curb. Yeah, and he's lost the rear end and he's down into 3rd, and Emmanuel is on the back as well. Could go for the inside for 2nd here. Can he get the move done? Racing home and Matter side by side towards turn 13 and then down towards Galp at 14. It's a very wide line actually there, Matter.
It's a very different line than Matt, yeah?
4.9 seconds. Nissim is lapping this up, I think, at the moment in time. Racing home though. In the meantime. Yeah, Emmanuel's trying to keep up with these guys. It doesn't look like he's got the pace generally so far. Andy, by the way,
he's going to have the slipstream here. He's in the slipstream of Jake, racing at home.
He's got the move done on Matter anyways. He's just absolutely mincemeated him down the straight line speed, clear, and racing at home through. And he runs wide actually, and Matter sizes up the inside. Jobs are good, and Emmanuel down the inside. Not going to try it. Not going to try it there at all, but Emmanuel doing a good job there in 4th position. Trying to go for the move there and racing at home. Flaky and Andy in the meantime are having a bit of a battle for 5th and 6th. Scotsman against Malaysian. Now RLT drivers actually doing quite well. They've got Matter up in 2nd and Flaky up in 5th.
Yeah, they're doing quite well. And, you know, looking at for the team, that's going to be good for their team, coming from 18 points, you know, getting as much as they can for the constructors. So good for them. Hopefully they can keep up this pace.
Andy on the back. Andy, I think, getting caught up. Obviously, he had that disconnect. He didn't set a lap time. Mael has left the session, so he was the one that retired out of the race. Shame. So I lost Mael, and who's that back? That's racing at home.
Who is that? Is that
it's racing at home again. He's lost the back end coming through Portimao.
That's the 2nd time in 2 laps, I think, or 2nd time in 3 laps.
I think Nissim's had a moment as well, because the gap's only 2 seconds.
So have they come together? Was it separate spins, or what's going on? Is it the tire temps?
Could be the tyre temps, I think, more than anything. Racing at home, I think, has just lost the back end. Nissim was 5 seconds clear, pretty much. I think he's dropped the back end slightly and had a half spin. And obviously, Matter now in 2nd, 2.7 seconds off.
So maybe, so maybe we're seeing like tire temps, the setups of the cars that the drivers have chosen. You know, is it the setup? Is it the tires? Is it the brake temperatures that are now causing, you know, these spins? We've seen it already twice or 3 times within, you know, 2 cars even. I think Nissim spun, like you just said. Are we going to see more people spin? Is this going to be a concern later in the race? We're only, I mean, about 8 to 9 minutes in, and we've got about 50 minutes to go. So some of these drivers are in for a rough time if they don't cool down those tires.
If this isn't much action you'll get in 8 or 9 minutes, just think about what we will get in the next 52. A little bit of a cut across there from Flaky. Flaky, I think, had the room though to cut across. Andy was trying to go, he had the run, but Flaky just moved across, defended the line perfectly. I personally don't see anything wrong with that.
It looked a little daunting though from back here.
The camera angle, I think, really gave a bit of an angle that we weren't expecting. Andy is actually trying to go up the inside here in support of mine, not close enough. In the meantime, Flicky, I think, just running over the curb slightly. Reslom seems to have got his back end sorted out. Oh no, he hasn't, because Emmanuel's round. Emmanuel is round from fourth. From third even.
Three cars within 3 laps.
And it's Portimao that seems to be catching them all out as well.
It seems to be that weight transfer coming from the top of the hill, kind of going down, the weight transfers in, you get the huge kick of traction. So that may be, you know, kind of catching out the drivers where you just get this huge kick of oversteer, you can't catch it. Once it's gone on these cars.
Yeah, LMP3s have been quite difficult to drive. I think we mentioned it even in the first round with me and Ash, obviously talking last week about them. The LMP3 is very hard to handle around here, and I think it's proven. We've got a side-by-side battle though in the meantime. This is for 10th and 11th, Tiger Kart and High Grid, I think this is, going side-by-side down towards turn 1 for 10th. And down the inside goes Tiger Kart, High Grid on the outside line. High Grade runs wide, but I think inevitably he was going to get the move done anyways. Oh, and he spun the car!
Oh, and he's on the curb and he spins. Oh, he braked on the curb. You cannot brake on the curbs, otherwise the back end just says bye and you're done. I think that's exactly what happened to High Grade. Oh, that's so unfortunate. He was having such a great battle.
So unfortunate. Yeah, he was having a good battle there with Tiger Kart. Tiger Kart inevitably getting the move done now up to 10th. High Grade, just one of those things, I think, to be honest. A little bit of an inexperience. Sam Hesketh has left the race. He was running, I think, in 14th, if I'm not mistaken. That promotes Speedster 2 minutes and 2 seconds behind because of his rear wing coming off. He's down in 14th, a mountain to climb, as I say. But the amount of spins that we're seeing already here tonight, personally, don't rule them out, I think, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, it's definitely a shock. I'm not used to seeing it. I think the GT3 cars that we drove last season, past 2 seasons, have been, you know, there's a lot more wiggle room to those kind of cars. They're more, I guess, flexible in the chassis. They kind of, you know, lean on one side. These cars are much more rigid, and they're faster. They have more downforce, especially with those huge rear wings, the big diffuser in the back. The rear ends are going to snap. You're going to have more initial grip, but to control that grip through the corners with the speed that you've got, I think is you know, it's kind of a handful to some of these guys today. And I think it's going to be throughout the season as we see Andy kind of running wide, kind of highlighting just how hard it is to drive these cars. But he's having a good battle with Flaky.
Flaky defending this well, to be honest. I think Andy obviously trying to get the move done. I was surprised actually with the lack of slipstream that Andy was producing down the straight. It almost looked like he didn't want to go for the move. And I mean, he's very deep into the braking zone there, and he's right on the back of Flaky as we switch out the camera angle. Mia Olwoff, by the way, is into the pits. Not sure what the reason is for. Let's ride on board and see. I think it might have been possibly for new tyres. He's just exited his
tires or fuel. He has a lot of fuel. He has 85 liters of fuel almost.
I wonder if he's underfueled.
Maybe. Maybe he just thought it was a good time to go in the pits and maybe repair any damage that he got, maybe from the first few laps, or just to get new tires and fill up. So.
Gotta say, I'm loving the comments section, by the way. There's a lot of good comments coming in. Sorry, Professional. Go on. What were you saying?
No. You go on. I was
Andy spun!
As well.
Andy has spun from 4th position, racing the home, grants the position. I think another one that has just dropped the back end purely.
Emmanuel.
And Emmanuel's through. He's up to 5th.
Andy's coming back though.
Round the outside, a gallop from Andy? No way. We never see side by side through here with the gallop. He's trying to go around the outside.
He's gonna get the run. He's gonna get the slipstream on Emmanuel. So let's see what happens.
Let's run on board with cockpit cam. Let's see from the driver's eye, quite literally.
He's got to be running a ton of downforce if he's not gaining.
He's really not gaining at all. Emmanuel defends the inside line. Andy switches it to the inside. And
what direction?
Slight correction on oversteer, but I think Emmanuel's got this one, to be honest, unless he goes deep. No. Good stuff.
Good racing.
Very good racing. Andy trying to get the move done. He just can't find a way past on Emmanuel. H Racing Green, by the way, has gone past Darren Sinclair in the last 2 laps or so. He is now into 7th in this race. Can he produce possibly the impossible? I mean, he's running quicker than, what, 4th downwards, basically. Everyone ahead of him, as we've had a disconnect, not sure who that is.
It wasn't.
I'm not sure who that is. Was that one of the back markers, I think? I don't know. Answers on the postcard for that one, please.
You've made a good point, though, because H Racing Green, he's, as he kind of runs wide there, gets on the curve a little bit. But, you know, he's gotten past Darren Sinclair with Bulldog Racing. He's doing really, really, really good with his pace. He's on pace with the top 4, slightly under that. So there's 45 minutes to go. We'll see what happens. Is he burning up his tires too much, though? Is he using a lot of his tires, a lot of his brakes, trying to get up to the front of the field? So he may have to pit. But as long as he can keep it on the black stuff, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he looks like he's outpacing certainly quite a few of the guys ahead. Nissim, by the way, has just absolutely dominated this race so far. Race leader update, he's 7 seconds clear pretty much of Matter, who's running very strongly in second. Obviously with that turn 1 contact, the stewards will have a look at it for sure. I don't know what happened. There was a lot going on in a short space of time, so I'm not going to really comment on that. But Nissim has really taken this race by the scruff of the neck, and essentially he could have been handed the win here. I mean, 15 minutes in. He
could have, yeah. As we see Andy going down the outside, trying to get the switch back on Emmanuel. Emmanuel parks the bus.
Contact.
Oh!
And he's waiting up for him. It looked to me rather, we had a perfect camera angle from that. I think personally, there might have been a little bit of desync between Andy and Emmanuel. I didn't see a physical tap.
I was going to say that, yeah. I did not actually see any contact between the two cars. I saw like a bubble of space, and I saw Emmanuel kind of getting turned around, so I think you're exactly right. I think that was desync and lag, so hopefully that'll be put down to as a racing incident. Hopefully Emmanuel understands that. I think Andy did as well, because he waited for him. But that's very unfortunate for both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think honestly that is a racing incident. Andy just well, not really going into the back of him. As I say, I think it was just a bit of a lag bubble. It seems like we're having quite a few disconnections as well within the lobby. Tiger Car, it's the latest one that is disconnected or either left the race as well. So there might be an ongoing issue with PSN, there might be an ongoing issue with the servers. I know these servers for Project Cars 2, they're obviously going to be phased out once Project Cars 3 comes out. So it's you're playing like a game of blind chicken, to be honest, with these servers.
Yeah, it seems to be that way, doesn't it? It can get annoying sometimes.
Get annoying. Tell you what, H Racing Green though, after the contact with Andy and Emmanuel, he's just been handed 5th position. He's got clean air in front of him, 3 seconds to racing at home. It's on, I think, for the win.
It is, and I want to see if how much H Racing Green is gaining on racing at home every lap. We'll kind of be keeping an eye on that. It's about 3.5 seconds right now, give or take, for at the course. So on the start-finish line, we'll take a gander at that. But he's actually not pulling away from Darren Sinclair in 6th place. I expected Harry to kind of maybe overtake Darren and kind of leave him in the dust a little bit, but Darren's been doing a good job of staying in Harry's slipstream. If he can keep consistent, not make any mistakes, Darren is possibly in for a top 5, definitely top 6.
Yeah, Darren's had experience of running around this track before, I think, in when obviously the merge didn't come between CRC and TTG Project Cars when it was back in the day. And Sinclair had a bit of experience. I think he finished on a podium, if I'm not mistaken, here in the Renault Roulette, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going off the top of my head and trying to remember back so far ago, I probably can't even remember myself, but I might be making this up. So Sinclair, but I definitely think he has got a big liking to this track. The Scotsman obviously trying to close in on H Racing Green, but H Racing Green seems to be doing a good job. We'll see the last laps next time around. This is the biggest indicator, I think, to see. I think visibly Sinclair's a little bit closer this time, and that's not really attributed by the time, but the times don't really tell everything. I think he's getting about a 10th in that final sector. Saying that, he's just dropped out to 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, I think Darren's pace comes from that middle sector. I think that's where he kind of claws back maybe a 10th or 2. I think he drops it sector 1 a little bit. Kind of see visibly he's not as close. Harry does run quite deep though. Andy is not done with the manual yet. They're having a good battle right now. Andy's trying to get past somehow. I think has a lot of downforce on that car. Can't get close enough on the straights.
Andy's slightly closer as well compared to the last lap. 39.3 compared with 39.6. However, if you are Speedster right at the back of the field, 37.2 being knocked in. And the gap has closed to Nissan by about 4 seconds. I'll just put that out there.
Jeez, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Speedster's, he's on a mission. He's not done. You just look at the lap times, and he's the only man in the 37s. Nobody's even in the 38s. Except for Nissim, and Speedster's already a lap or a second a lap faster.
Let's have a look actually at his best time. Yeah, 37.2. So that last time around.
38.4.
38.
Everybody else is in the 39s.
Unbelievable.
So Speedster's the one making up ground. That is, I mean, that's visible distance every lap. And Andy's stuck behind Emmanuel now.
Yeah,
he just doesn't have the top speed. He should be passed by now.
He's running more cornering.
This reminds me... Sorry, James, go ahead.
He's running... I was going to say, he's running more cornering, I think, than speed down the straight. He's opted for a more downforce setup to try and get through the corners better, rather than the speed. And I think that is seen, really, within the slipstream difference between them. I mean, we've run on board, I think, 2 or 3 occasions now with Andy, and we're right on board again. He just physically isn't getting close enough to try and pull off a move. And again, I think that's down to his setup rather than his pace, because we know he's got the pace and he's doing a good job. And Emmanuel's slower last lap. Andy should be, ideally, if he was running a straight line speed setup as opposed to a cornering setup, he should be past him. And to be honest, he should be. Oh, Nissim disconnected from the race lead! And Mia Olaf as well! Nissim is disconnected from the race lead. Something is going on here.
That's a shame. He was doing so well. I mean, flawless race. There's nothing he could have done, as Andy almost gets in the back of Emmanuel. But, I mean, Nissim had the dream start coming from 4th or 5th. I forget where he started. Running 5, 6, 7 seconds in front of Matt and Flaky.
He was 10 seconds clear, I think.
10 seconds, and then just gets a harsh penalty, and that penalty is the disconnection. And there's nothing you can do about that. That is absolutely gutting.
That's absolutely gutting. And disconnection, I think it's obviously down to the server, I think, more than anything else. That's what we could light upon.
It's gotta be,
It's so unfortunate for Nissim, but I think, I'm not going to sound quite... I might sound quite abusive by saying this, but I think it's actually good for the viewers, because now we've got Mata 3.2 seconds ahead of Flaky. Technically, we've got a race back on, I think. We were having the Nissim dominance, but now we've got the field essentially Constantined up a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. That we have a race back on our hands now. We have... I mean, I'm watching this battle between Andy and Emmanuel. It's absolutely fantastic to watch. It's really good driving by both of them. But the front of the grid, Racing at Home is now 10 seconds behind. He's got H Racing Green right behind him, so they're having a nice battle. They've actually closed up that gap, so it'll be interesting to kind of see what's going on. Darren Sinclair is closed up on H Racing Green, so there's going to be all 3 of these cars getting in there. But yeah, Flaky and Matt. I mean, that's a team. That's a team 1-2 with for ILRT Janetta. They'll be hauling away a bunch of good points here today. And I bet they're just trying to keep everything cool right now, not make any rash decisions, keep it on the black stuff, and everything should be okay.
We've got an extended point system, remember, here as well, so that is going to be even more points than technically what they should be picking up if it was a traditional, like, say, for example, an F1 point system. But obviously with an extended system, we've got a lot going on. In the meantime, we have got a battle for 3rd and potentially a battle for 6th as well, with Emmanuel and Andy battling out just in behind. Again, Andy doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed, but Racing at Home in 3rd, defending off H Racing Green, defending off Sinclair. Emmanuel and Andy are beginning to get dragged into this. 5-way battle.
This is going to get spicy.
5-way battle for 3rd?
That's what it's looking like. It's going to get spicy, it's going to get pretty tense, and I think the longer they stay in this little train that they got going, towards the end of the race, they're going to be thinking, where can I make a move? Do I go now? Do I wait? Am I calm, aggressive?
Ooh, Racing Home made a mistake. Racing Home, in fact, has just let H Racing Green through, or has he?
Hits a cone.
Racing Home letting. I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. It looked to me.
Maybe it slowed down. I'm not sure.
I wonder actually if he might have a bit of damage from earlier contact. Oh, you see Andy and Emmanuel side by side. Andy down the inside, trying to get the move done through Craig Jones. Around the outside, no. Emmanuel's going to let him have this one very late on the brakes. Andy around the outside, brilliant stuff. Oh, there's contact on the rejoin. But honestly, I think Andy, he had the full car ahead. He had the job done.
Yeah, it looked like he was ahead. That might have even been a little bit of desync as well. But I think Andy was fine. Oh, there's a 3.
Racing Home is dropping through the field like a fly here.
Andy
Sinclair and Andy. We're going to get too wide again through Galp. Hung onto your hat with this one. Andy's through on Racing Home. Has he got damage? No, he hasn't. He's continuing on.
What's going on? He's got the fuel. Engine temps seem a bit high, but that's normal for racing at home. So
232 degrees Fahrenheit.
Fine. Yeah.
239. I wonder actually if he might have been overheating the engine. Has he been overheating the engine? Because his engine temp now is a lot lower than say Andy's, which is about 20 degrees below. And actually, Racing at Home. Sorry, who was that? Somebody has spun.
That's Andy.
Was that Andy? No, it's Speedster. It's
Speedster.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I thought that was the Andy.
Oh, panic over.
I was like, yeah.
Goodness me. Speedster was actually running though in that pack, and he set a 37.1 last lap around.
Oh my gosh.
I know,
Sinclair is right behind H Racing Green. This is absolutely fantastic driving by Sinclair.
I think honestly, I'll say this now before I get tortured later on in Discord. Speedster, I don't think is going to be a happy bunny. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
As Andy gets the move done on Sinclair, brilliant move. He's up to 4th. Andy just sails it down the inside of Portimao, gets the move done, and he's on Sinclair for 4th. And I think honestly, both of them teammates, both of them in different liveries, but both of them teammates. Andy through to 4th. Yeah. And arguably, Darren thinks Andy's the quicker driver to get to H Racing Green. And I cannot believe H Racing Green's in 3rd. You can see it.
Yeah, this race has been, I mean, it's only been 25 minutes, and it's been absolutely fantastic. If the next 35 minutes are like this, you know, both of us are not going to have a voice by the end of this. There will be the shot with their voices. As Andy takes a look at H Racing Green, decides not to go for it, though. Probably a smart thing, get a good run.
Could get run down towards turn 3, inside line. He's going to go for it on the brakes. And he's trying to get the move done on H Racing Green. Trying to go around the outside of H Racing Green. Oh, and he makes it look pretty easy in the end.
Nice.
I have to applaud that. Andy gets the move done. And now H Racing Green, under pressure from Sinclair, having a poor run out. Down towards turn 5 we go. H Racing Green hangs on though for now in 4th. But Andy, the commentator extraordinaire of TTL F1 back in the day, has just made H Racing Green, last week's race winner, look like a complete and utter ordinary driver, I think.
Just left him like a sitting duck. I mean, he's already, I mean, pulling out a good gap. So I think Andy, so far for me, is the driver of the day. He's done an exceptional job. Get that car up in the P3. You know, passing last week's race winner, you know, with ease. It looked like on the outside. That was really, really well done. So look for him for a good podium. Maybe even P2.
Maybe even P2, yeah. Flaky's only 8 seconds up the road, so it is quite possible that Andy will begin to close in. It's just actually going down towards the 7-second mark, actually. So Andy now in the clear air, definitely looking like he's going to have the pace to try and get into this. Am I being mad and saying, can he win this?
I don't want to commentators curse Andy. As you know, he's with my team, with Bulldog Racing. You know, me and Nash both run that. But he's done just a good job. And I think that the high downforce setup that he's running compared to, you know, Emmanuel's low downforce setup, I think it's going to benefit him now because he's in the clean air. There's nobody around him. He can put his head down, focus on himself, focus on getting the gap down from him and to Flaky. And then if he passes Flaky, there's 32 minutes remaining. Was not to say that he can't give Matt a run for his money for the win.
Yeah, I honestly think, looking at the last lap times as well, Andy a 1.5 seconds quicker than Flaky and a second and a half quicker, nearly 2 seconds quicker than H Racing Green. So H Racing Green clearly now struggling. Not sure if he's overheating. He must be overheating the engines. Oh yeah, 238 degrees compared to 224 of Darren.
Yeah. Either that or tires, maybe brakes. He does seem quite slow into the braking zone, so maybe he's trying to save brakes. Darren's right on the back of him, though. I don't think will make a move.
Or Sinclair trying to go up the inside. Yeah, H Racing Green has got this one covered. Remains in 4th. Yeah. High Grade has picked up the first penalty of the night as well. Let's check out on the timings. A second penalty for High Grade. I think that's probably due to track limits abuse. So obviously extending over the white lines to you and me. Emmanuel in the meantime on the back of Racing at Home, and Racing at Home has just fallen from grace all of a sudden. He must have some sort of suspension damage, I think, or he's overheating or something, because that car does not look right to me.
Is it the body? Is it the suspension? I can't see anything that would kind of give away like aero damage or suspension damage. It looks okay to me, so either it's engine, he's running 245 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe it's the tires or the brakes, maybe it's the setup, maybe it's a really good quality, 5-lapper stint setup as Manuel runs wide. Maybe it's not meant for a race. Maybe it's too stiff, slides around too much, it's very slow out of there.
Oh, and I've just seen... Oh, sorry, go on.
It just doesn't look like it's turning. When it does turn, it's just sliding. Go ahead.
Have you... Oh, and he's diving down the inside! Oh, Racing at Home! Ooh. That's Speedster coming through! Speedster?
Is that Speedster? Oh, it
is Speedster!
Right in the back.
Oh,
he's not
goodness
happy.
Me! He is flashing his lights.
Racing at Home
not happy with that. Speedster...
I don't think that was in the plans.
But arguably...
There's no love lost between those guys.
But arguably, though, Speedster's looking quicker than these guys. I think he has a right to overtake. It's like Ocon and Verstappen Brazil 2019, I think.
I think so, and there's nothing in the rules that say that says 2018. Yeah, there's nothing in the rules that says you can't be a lapped car and overtake a position. Get your lap back. You're faster. Pass and move on. That's racing.
Well, Emmanuel dived it down the inside. Racing at Home gave him the room. Emmanuel just sailed on by. Speedster was there to try and pick up the pieces down on the inside line as well. And obviously he's unlapped himself now from Racing at Home. And look at the rear end again. Definitely appears to me as if it's overheating the gearbox, I think, possibly. Has to be.
It's something, I'm not... yeah, I mean, 245 degrees, that's quite hot. I wouldn't be surprised if he already has half engine damage by halfway through this race. It'll definitely affect his top end speed, which is what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think honestly, if he's been running at a much higher temperature than what we've actually been reading on the stream, Racing at Home obviously is full from grace. He might already have that engine damage.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough second half of the race if that's the case. Sinclair still can't get past H Racing Green, but his teammate got past him quite easily and is now taking off the distance. Andy is, I want to say that gap to Flaky is about the same. Yeah. Am I wrong in that, or is it coming down, or is it the same?
No, the gap between the leader, I think, is stabilised, but the gap between Flaky and Andy is now 6 seconds. So the gap has came down. The last time we rode on board, I think it was about 3 or 4 laps ago. It's came down by 2 seconds in that, and again it's reflected by the last lap times. 38.2 compared with 38.9. Andy technically gaining 7 tenths.
About 10 or 15 minutes time, he should be a lot closer, and I think Flaky's going to start feeling the pressure of that, and we'll get ourselves a good battle for P2.
Yeah, just dipping under 6 seconds there as well. As Flaky comes across the line, 39.6. Andy about to come across the line, set a 38.4, so 1.2 seconds quicker that time around. Oh. Andy compared to Flaky. Sinclair, I think, ran a little
faster
wide.
Than Matt in P1.
He is.
2 tenths faster.
2 tenths faster than Matt, but the gap is stabilising. I honestly think Matta hasn't put a foot wrong. Nissim obviously with that unfortunate disconnect out on track. Because I think Emmanuel has had a moment. Was there contact between him and Speedster? I'm not sure if I saw what I thought I saw, but Emmanuel...
I'm not sure, but I think Emmanuel racing at home, they're quite close on track.
Speedster was behind Emmanuel going in towards turn 1. I can definitely say that as a positive fact. But whether or not there's been contact between Speedster and Emmanuel, or if he's just dropped the back end, remains to be seen. It could be one or the other.
Yeah, I think he dropped the back end, I think, because he got back to Jake, and that's my controller disconnects. That's wonderful. I will I will hopefully be back here in a second.
No, you can be heard loud and clear. Hitch Racing Green, though, on the warpath to try and catch Darren. Andy is closing in that gap to Matter ahead as well. For the gap for the lead is 13.1 seconds. The gap has significantly come down, and that is why, because Matter's in the pits. Look at the fuel, 2.5 litres.
Oh no! Did he?
He's on the fuel massively.
Full fuel in the. Did he put full fuel in at the beginning of the race? Because if he didn't do that, he would have had to pit.
Flecky's into the pits as well. The both ILRT guys have been the fuels. How? Honestly, this race is just taking twists and turns like 2011 in Canada.
They both underfueled the car. They're only 35 minutes into the race. They're not even good for a full 45-minute race, which we had last season, or the last 3 seasons.
Did they think it was 45 minutes?
This is massive. Well, even if it was 45 minutes, they still would have been underfueled. I mean, this is a massive mistake. Well, this is very similar to like Master going down the pit lane or doing qualifying with not enough fuel in the car to do qualifying. I mean, this is a really, really bad mistake, and this is... Oh, I cannot imagine if I was in their team right now what they must be feeling. If this is all part of the plan, I don't think it's part of the plan.
No.
But yikes.
Oh, dearie me. But that now promotes Andy into the lead of the race. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I said it earlier on, and I didn't think it would come true. But Andy now is generally leading this race. But can we just for one moment talk about Hitch Racing Green in second? He was down in 10th. He was down in 10th on that one.
10th.
And now he's second.
You're right. He can absolutely do the impossible. And see that the top 3 is in one picture frame. So this is like we've been handed a race.
That's
like an actual race.
That's Speedster ahead of Hitch Racing Green. So actually, this could be helping him rather than hindering him.
Yeah. Wow.
God almighty. It's like 2011 Canada, as I say. Obviously, with the underfuel, with Matter and Flaky, I can't really bear any relevance to or comparisons to anything like that. And I think we've had a position change further down the field. Matter into 6th. High grade must have had a spin.
Most of us were looking at a huge patch of grass, yeah.
There we go, there he is. High grade has just been overtaken, I think, by Matter, so he's up into 6th. It's home in 5th now, Manuel 4th. There is Darren Sinclair in 3rd, and still on the back of Hitch Racing Green. 4/10 of a second fighting these two. Speeds are going way off into the distance and clearly outpacing them. Yeah. But they're looking quite consistent.
They've been glued together the entire race. They've pretty much been together the entire race. I've not seen them more than a second or two apart. So, like once Harry got past Sinclair, as Sinclair runs wide under the grass.
Very wide, yeah. Sinclair running very wide. They're 1.5 seconds dropped to the back of Hitch Racing
now
Green.
They've been about a second, farther than each other the whole race. Now that I commentated cursing, but now hopefully can get back the gap.
Yeah, now puts Emmanuel, I was going to say, into play as well.
Yeah, but he's made a good time, and because of Sinclair's mistake, he's right on the back. So looking for Emmanuel to pass, or at least catch up to Sinclair. I'm looking at people's fuel, 31.8 liters for Emmanuel, 35 or 36 for Sinclair for racing at home. So are these drivers going to make it to the end? I think they should. I'm just still in shock of Matt and Flaky.
Yeah, more than definitely so. I think they're going to make it to the end of the race. But Andy gifted the race. I mean, Maze has just commented there. He said to Andy he would win the race. I didn't think he meant it literally, but you never know. What comes around goes around and all of that. But Andy's outpacing Hitch Racing Green out on track. I'm not sure how many hours of practice he's put in, by the way, but Andy is doing such a phenomenal job. And yeah, we can argue there's a lot of luck that has been on his side. Turn 1, for example, the disconnect with Nissim and Mia Orwoth. Andy has just landed himself in the right spot at the right time, and hopefully, touching wood, 22 minutes to go until he's crowned CRC Round 2 winner in Algarve. H Racing Green is dropping time considerably. It's 10.5 seconds the gap.
He is, and his lap times are showing at 38.3 for Andy, at 39.9 for H Racing Green. H Racing Green has Darren Sinclair right behind him. He's not doing the greatest of lap times either, because they're fighting. But I mean, Andy is, if he can keep these laps consistent, he's won the race. It's just 20 minutes to go. Keep his head down, focus, and you're good.
I have a feeling if he is going to join the interviews as well later on, I think he's going to be quite ecstatic and maybe slightly over-exaggerating it, to be honest. But Andy has done a fantastic job regardless, I think, of where he comes now. Even if he... Well, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to commentate his curse. And H Racing Green, though, is on the back. It could be a 1-2 as well for Andy and Darren, both, of course, in the same team. We were talking about an ILRT Janetta 1-2 with Mata and Flaky until both of them came into the pits in one of the scandals of the season, I think. But Andy doing a good job. Can Darren get second, though, and pick up a full points haul for his team?
It's going to be close. I think he's just biding his time, maybe learning kind of where H Racing Green's lines are, kind of where he's braking, where he's weak, where he's strong, and Sinclair is probably trying to line up a good pass. You know, wait longer, be more patient. It's about 5 minutes to go, launch the attack, and I think he can maybe get it done today. So he doesn't make any more, you know, off tracks, extensions, stays on the gearbox of H Racing Green. I think he's got it.
Will you be able to check on Discord as well, actually, and have a look at any reactions of the disconnectees out on track? That's what you can do. That'll be fantastic. Sinclair, obviously, right on the back of H Racing Green in the meantime. Hopefully we'll try and get some updates from the guys from Discord of those who have disconnected. But Sinclair, 20 minutes to go. Andy leading, H Racing Green in second, Sinclair in third. Andy is pulling in the race of his life here. He's now 13 seconds clear of H Racing Green. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Has he employed a sim racing driver onto his account for tonight, like Daniel App did in the Race at Home challenge? Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's brilliant.
This guy's on another planet. He's absolutely flying. I mean,
that's my lap time.
Are we doing a tier 1
quicker.
and a tier 2? He just pulled out literally 2 or 3 seconds in one lap, or 2 laps.
2 seconds Andy has gained on H Racing Green. The same H Racing Green that dominated last week in Daytona. Unbelievable. I think H Racing Green said it's not one of his stronger tracks, albeit, but goodness me, Andy is making these guys look, well, I don't know. Speaking about the new fastest lap of the race, by the way, Speedster, 36.9. Wow. It's like a qualifying standard lap, that.
Yeah, that's quite quick, and I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's down in P11. He's still going to pick up a few points today, but definitely not the result that he wanted. But looking at the Discord chat, and Mealwolf just said disconnected again. Flaky looks like he's not exactly happy with the fuel strategy. It'll be interesting to see what he says after the race. Not sure if that was intentional. It doesn't look like it was intentional. And yeah, that's about it so far.
I'm sure there'll be a few more choice words after the race within the Discord chat. Obviously, if you're in the Discord chat, I would say mute your notifications, because there's going to be a lot of them coming through after tonight. But
and I think Nissim's going to be unhappy. I haven't heard from him, but he'll be unhappy.
Yeah, he'll be really unhappy. Disconnecting from the lead of the race, so unfortunate. But you can't really take it away from Andy out in front. H Racing Green in second. Arguably, though, I think Emmanuel is beginning to eat into both of these guys' advantages, and that's proven with a 38.1 compared to a 39.6. H Racing Green with a 39.3. Emmanuel now is beginning to get into it. He's got front damage and all, But goodness me, he's 2 seconds away from possibly landing himself a P2.
And he was actually quicker than Andy that lap. Andy with a 38.9, Emmanuel with a 38.1. So I'm not sure if Andy had a bad lap, but Emmanuel is now the quickest person on track. And I'm not counting speed stub just because he's a bit behind the pack. And yeah, but right now the gap is coming down quite extensively, so we'll see what happens.
Emmanuel was quicker than the Speedster actually last lap around. 38.1 for 39.2 for Speedster further down the field. So it's unbelievable to see, but 1.5 seconds separating the gap between second and fourth out on track. I'll say that again, second and fourth out on track. I might have said something differently there. H Racing Green though, leading this, well, could you say a train of cars? I would say carriage of cars, to be honest, with Darren and Emmanuel third and fourth. But it's just really judging this to perfection from Emmanuel's perspective. He's on the back. It's now a second separating second to fourth. But look at his engine temperature, 255 degrees.
55,
Darren's
that's crazy.
On like 10% less at least, 227 degrees, and H Racing Green's on 237. So Emmanuel is running this engine so high it could blow up at any second.
He's probably over-revving it too. He's trying to get all the power. He sees. I mean, he's right in the back of Sinclair. He may even like try to launch it down into turn 1, if not turn 2, turn 3.
Oh, and he is! He's down the inside. Emmanuel launches it down the inside. Darren falls off track. Good move,
Sinclair
though.
Off the track. That was very good. I would say that's clean. That's aggressive. Good for Emmanuel.
Clean, aggressive, but fair, I think, to be honest. Emmanuel diving up the inside.
Yes.
The gap was there. He was entitled to go for it. He's now on the back of H Racing Green. Emmanuel beginning to get into this, and a 37.8 matches that quicker than Andy once again. Last lap around, Emmanuel looks to me, he's on a charge.
Yeah, he is on a charge, absolutely. He is the fastest man on track, and he's looking extremely aggressive. This is amazing. But right now, Emmanuel is driving very, very well. Probably the best I've seen him drive in a long time. And hit the paces there. If he can keep this, he's on for a P2.
He's on for a P2, and again, H Racing Green, Daytona specialist last time out, obviously winning. He's gone a bit wide there, H Racing Green. Emmanuel just having a bit of a corrective oversteer, I think, as well, through the corner. Yeah. Darren, though, trying to go on the back, and Emmanuel's down the inside on H Racing Green. He's got it! Emmanuel sails it down the inside. H Racing Green just looked like he invited that one through, inviting him to church for Sunday morning prayer. Emmanuel's through and he's up to second.
And H Racing Green is looking around and saying, where did Emmanuel go? Dude, you need to be looking in front. He's in front of you. He passed you. That was an unbelievable overtake by Emmanuel. I mean, just sent it down the inside, late braking, kept it really tight inside line. I think if you take the tight inside line here, keep the speed up, I think that is the fastest way around these cars, or around these tracks in these cars.
Now, take us in the mind of H Racing Green. Was he too conservative there to let Emmanuel pretty much get the gap through and get a clean move done? I think he was way too conservative there, to be honest.
I think so. I think he was conservative. I think he was trying to take a wide line, trying to cut in, get a good exit onto the front straight where he thought Emmanuel would launch an attack. Emmanuel probably saw that, saw Harry, you know, kind of prepping that corner, dived down the inside, took the opportunity, very opportunistic, and he did just the perfect job to get that move done. He's already taken off, and Sinclair is still behind H Racing Green. Probably could have taken a few notes from that. He may actually try a dive down the inside. See him very close to H Racing Green.
Knowing Sinclair, though, I think he is a very clean driver and he never makes mistakes and never makes contact with another driver. He is going to try it down the inside, but again, he's just been a bit cautious. I think he's aware that H Racing Green is in front of him, and he doesn't want to overcommit the car to make that contact and to land himself with a bit of a slap wrist and in the steward's office later on.
That is true. He's in good for a good team result right now. A P1, P4 full Bulldog Racing racing team. Sorry, but he looks like he's taking a much better line, a bit tighter than H Racing Green. Looks to be very well set up for a good slipstream.
Love the camber. Love the camber of Gal. And he's right on the back, and this should be possibly a move done for third. You can already see this is where this is going to go. The Scotsman down the inside, Darren Sinclair on the back of H Racing Green. He's no longer on the back of him, down the inside. Harry's aware of the danger. Darren is through, and he's up into third position. And H Racing Green, Again, I don't think, to be honest, he had a right to defend that one because Darren was always going to get the move done.
Yeah, he was already side by side about halfway through the front straight, so that was pretty much move done by the start-finish line. The gap is already opening up to almost a second, or about 7/10, as closes it down under braking. But now his sights are going to be on a manual to try and catch him for a possible P2. We'll see kind of what this lap shows, as now Sinclair is ahead of H Racing Green. Manuel, though, locking up just a little bit. Both of them taking really nice lines, though, through that corner and exit. Andy, 14 seconds to P2, so I think you would say that he's got this race locked up as long as he stays consistent, doesn't make any mistakes. I mean, he's driving the race of his life right now, and I can't imagine the emotions he's going through.
Let's just hope he can continue it up, and consistency is the key for everyone out on track. Sinclair, by the way, is 3 times up on his personal best. He is not done with just yet. He's got past H Racing Green. Has Emmanuel, though, gone too hard too early? There's 11 minutes to go in this race, just over. 257 degrees Fahrenheit on that engine. That engine is probably hot enough to boil about 6 boiled eggs at this stage.
I was going to say 6 nicely cooked cookies or chocolate chip cookies. That's, but his engine it's pretty hot, and I don't think I've ever ran an engine that hot before. We're in Algarve at Mount de Portimao, and the temps are cooking. So let's hope that his engine can stay intact. He may be losing some power on the straights. He's just not really extending the gap to Sinclair as I imagined him to, as fast as he got past Sinclair and Harry H Racing Green. So maybe it's just a bit of stalemate right now between him.
Oh,
somebody going very
high
wide.
grade. High grade going totally offline, and Flaky just says thank you very much for that one. I knew it was going to be quite close. I didn't think it would be that close enough, but Flaky has just, well, sailed on by. High grade says thank you very much for that free position, and Flaky's up to 7th. So the Ginetta ILRT team recovering well, but their strategy completely flawed, and I'm sure they're going to have a massive debrief after this.
Yeah, they're in for such a good result. You know, probably P1, P2, maybe P1, P3. But yeah, they'll be kicking themselves for the strategy today. Lesson learned, but I hope to see them back at the front for the following races.
Yeah, Flaky leaving. Go on, sorry.
No, I'm good.
Flaky on the back, well, trying to get onto the back of Mata. I think it's about a 15-second gap in the meantime. Andy leading the way still from Emmanuel. It's just sort of all died down. It's got a little bit quiet now. But the main interesting point, I think, to really write home about now is that H Racing Green has lost a significant amount of time to Darren Sinclair ahead. Significant amount of time. It's a second slower again than Darren.
That's a lot of time, and I'm kind of wondering, you know, is it the practice? Because, you know, these drivers practice every week for these races. It's up to them how much they practice, how much time they put in, whether it be, you know, an hour before the race, if they put in two days of practice, a few days before. So I'm not sure if H Racing Green's drop-off in pace from last week to this week is maybe a lack of practice, maybe a lack of time spent on the track, on the game before the race today. He just seems not in his element from what I saw last week, and last week he just was a bullet in the air and nobody could stop him, and he's unbeatable today. That is a much different story.
And I'll just put this right at home now. I'll just say this now. Andy disconnected from qualifying. He started from the back of the field.
I didn't say from the race. I was like, no, don't say it.
He started right at the back of the field in 16th position. And now you see him in the lead with 8 minutes to go.
That is...
You couldn't write it.
I mean, driver of the day, driver of this season so far, that is amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, a bit of luck on side. I think we can grant him that. But honestly, he's just been... The race he's driven, I think he was going to be on probably for a top P5. Never mind the first position, I think. He was in 4th, obviously, when Nissan didn't disconnect. And obviously the bit of contact with Emmanuel and himself early on. And again, with that contact with Emmanuel, he was 8th at one point. Emmanuel was 7th. They're now 12 seconds apart. 1st and 2nd.
It's been an absolutely upside-down race. I mean, we've seen people from the front go to the back and the back to the front. people in the middle, you know, going to the front and back and back to the middle again. It's been absolutely it's been crazy. You know, you would not have predicted this type of race, especially with the way it's turned out and just the luck we've had with it. You know, whether it be good luck for some people, bad luck for some other people, unfortunately. That's how racing goes, and that's what racing is, and you can't do anything about it except, you know, get up if you fell, keep pushing if you were successful, and go into the next race, the next part of the season, because it's over for the championship, not race to race. So, you know, if you have a little bump in the road like you had today, that's okay. Just pick yourself back up and do well next race.
Like a bump in the road with Speedster as well, but nicely joined in. 36.7 last time out for Speedster. He is now on the back of Sean. This is full position. They are both on the same lap as well. So Speedster now closing in on Sean, and he's 36.5. In fact, his fastest lap's been a 36.4 out on track, which is unreal. But Speedster now trying to lick the stamp and send it, as Alan says normally in commentary, but trying to get the move done is Speedster on the back of Sean, and well, I think he can probably see where this one is going to go, to be honest. The American, Sean just trying to pick his line. Yeah, Sean just making two moves there, I think, to be honest, to try and defend the position.
Possibly, yeah.
Just gone a little bit too deep. Speedster trying to go around the outside, but parks the bus on the inside apex, and Sean maintains the position. Speedster's going to be quite infuriated, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go down the double white, but he's gone very wide indeed.
Very wide.
Sean's had a spin, Sean's round, and Speedster gets the position.
Speedster's avoided it, yeah. He maybe just heated up the rears too much and just had no grip, no traction.
And that's what we've seen all night, I think. That's what we've seen all night as well, around the second sector. Just plenty of the loss of back ends, plenty of loss of traction, and we see Speedster getting the position up to 10th. And, I mean, Zandamar is in 9th. Oh, let's run on board with Zandamar. I feel sorry for him. He's been caught up in a bit of contact. It hasn't been this race at all today. And the Canadian driver has done quite well, I think, to get where he has done.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate what happened, you know, first lap. I think he had the pace to definitely be up in the top 5 right now. He's kind of been off in no man's land today. He's had a quiet race, just kind of sat there in P8, P9, P10 area, but still some points to come home with, and he's probably hoping for a better race next weekend.
Let's just have a look at the penalties, actually, because I'm interested to see if High Grade has actually got less penalties than Speedster. He has. Speedster, sorry, has actually got 1 second's worth. High Grade has got 2 seconds worth of penalties. So Zandamar only needs to close up 4 seconds. Emmanuel's into the pits. Oh, and he's underfueled.
Fuel.
I don't believe it. Emmanuel is underfueled, and this is a splash and dash. I just thought I'd mention as well. Sorry, they couldn't race
put in full fuel.
I thought he did, to be honest. I thought he did. And no.
Is Racing at Home going to come in too? Because they're teammates.
Racing at Home has got enough fuel to get to the end, but he has made a mistake, and he's now behind Mata for 4th. He's made a huge mistake somewhere, which we haven't caught.
Wow.
And there's Emmanuel. There's Flaky coming down the straight. Flaky's down the straight. He's going to be out in a very clean, narrow pocket, and Flaky out ahead of him. You cannot write this race at all. Just rip up the script we had and toss it out the window. I think we can say.
I mean, like, is there anything more that's going to happen? There's 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go. We've had it. Everything is okay. Andy's good on fuel. I think Sinclair's good on fuel. H Racing Green has to be good on fuel. I think we're good. But unless somebody completely spins and bombs it or whatever, you know, this race has just been amazing with the action.
Yeah, this race is done though, I think, to be honest.
I just don't know.
Can we end the stream here with 3.5 minutes to go? I don't know. It's unbelievable, Andy. But leading the way, 18 seconds the gap now. Sinclair in second. Oh, and Andy makes a slight mistake. Slightly through turn 2, but recovers it.
That's
and
right,
Andy
Sinclair
leads.
is in second.
Sinclair's in second.
This could be a Bulldog 1-2. Who would have thought on race 2 of this LMP3 season?
But,
I mean, wow.
H Racing Green is getting closer. 2.5 seconds the gap. He's closed in 1.8 on Darren. It's not over. until the fat lady
Sinclair's
sings.
last lap was not good. That's true. The lap was almost 2 seconds faster, like you just mentioned.
Zandemar's gone through on high grade as well. Sorry to cut in, Zandemar's gone in on high grade as well. He's through to 8th position. Ooh. Hitch Racing Green though, trying to get onto the back of Sinclair. Good racing so far on track. Andy leads 16.5 seconds. I wonder if he's beginning to save fuel. 5 litres of fuel, 1 minute and 30 odd lap times, say.
Is he gonna make it?
Has Andy got enough to the end? Is he trying to take it purposely slow enough so we can get and make this onto the final lap? 20 seconds
he's
from
not even going full throttle from what I see.
Yeah, 20 seconds from here, he's around the final. Keep on going, don't ruin your race here. Andy, I think. Yeah, he's slowing down on purpose, I think, to maybe get the final lap in. 1 minute and 45.
Yeah, that's what it is.
This could either be penultimate lap. It's about a 5-second buffer, I think, in between.
There cannot be any more twists to this race. I can't take any more. I mean, he's got to have enough fuel.
He will have enough. He will have enough fuel. He's definitely slowing up, I think. Just so it's purely because it's the final lap of the race. You can see him. He's not taking full throttle. Well, he is taking full throttle towards the end of the straight there. But Andy, to be honest, has wrapped this race up. I wonder if he's looking for a photo opportunity with Darren. Just saying that. Put it out there.
Yeah.
9/10. Hitch Racing Green 2 seconds off as well on Sinclair. One mistake could change it all, but there's not much I can say really, to be honest, than say Andy's got driver of the day, maybe even driver of the season, and maybe even yeah, brilliant. 40 seconds from here.
I mean, he's driven like the perfect race, staying out of all the incidents. He has a ton of bad luck, which we've seen the past season, the past few races in touring cars. Just gets sideswiped here, gets involved in unfortunate incidents. It's not his fault, but today he's put it together and comes around to probably
is he going to come across the line?
Final lap.
No, he's slowing down. He's slowing down. This is it. I think Andy is going to come across the line to win this one. We saw Kieran McGinley win in Racing Roulette. It's now Andy who takes the win here in Algarve. Unbelievable stuff from Andy. He takes the win and he's going to do celebratory donuts. Nearly flips the car in the process.
Celebrate that. Celebrate that.
Darren coming home for 1-2. And Hitch Racing Green, who would have thought it after his disastrous lap 1 with the contact with Speedster, he finished in 3rd.
That's one of the best I've seen. Matt, good
Matt
for
a 4.
Good P4, yeah.
Ressner home in 5th.
Home P5.
Flaky's going to be 6th as well. Emmanuel's down in 7th after that late pit stop. So Flaky's going to be coming home in P6. Watch out for the penalties as well. But I think we shouldn't see really any position losses or anything like that. Flaky across the line in 6th. Emmanuel at Zandemar coming around the final corner. Emmanuel across the line in 7th. Zandemar, one of the forgotten guys out on track, is going to finish in 8th. What on earth has happened with High Grade and Sean? Speedster's now in 9th.
What?
What on earth? Oh, they've run out of fuel. Oh, High Grade's run out of fuel and Sean's going to get him. Sean's going to get him for P10.
Oh my.
High Grade's completely stopped.
That is just...
you cannot write it. Sean, has he got an illegal overtake? I think he has. I think Sean's got an illegal overtake. He's going to get a severe penalty, possibly. High Grade has stopped on track. No fuel at all. The car has stopped. And actually, it's Bart who comes across the line for P10. I thought it was Sean. It's Bart. Sorry.
I'm completely... What?
And High Grade's just stopped. He's just stationary.
Is that the last corner of the
race? That's the last corner, 10-14. He would have finished in 9th. Oh, answers on the postcard for that one, please. Andy has taken one of the most dramatic top topsy-turvy races I think I've ever commentated on in my commentary career. But he takes the win nonetheless, from 16th to 1st on the grid. Darren has finished in 2nd. It's a Scottish 1-2. It's a Bulldog Racing 1-2 as well. H Racing Green with the comeback finishing in 3rd. Matter has finished in 4th. Racing at Home in 5th. Flaky in 6th. Emmanuel 7th. Zandamar 8th. Speedster 9th. Bart in 10th. Apologies, it was Bart, not Sean. I've been saying probably the whole race. And High Grade finishing in 11th. We had quite a few disconnects as well. But, my God, shall we get them in? Shall we get the top 3 in?
Absolutely, let's get them in. I mean,
let's get them in. Oh, they're definitely sweating. Right, let's see if I've got Andy certainly on my friends list. I'm going to see if I've got Darren. And I know for a fact I've got H Racing Green on there. There is Darren. And probably won't be able to hear my co-commentator as I'm on a blue screen inviting everyone in. Who is the other one? H Racing Green. Finishing in 3rd. H Racing Green, let's get them in. Right, all of them have been invited into the session. Hopefully we'll get them all in for interviews. The top 3, that is, of course. But what an unreal race in Algarve. I thought Algarve, honestly, was going to be one of these races that just throws out the rule book. I didn't really mean it that way, to be honest. But we've had such a crazy race. It is like Canada 2011 all over again. I was watching it earlier on the F1 YouTube, and my God, it was such a hectic race, and we got about 2 hours worth of action. But anyways, we have got our race winner here with us, Andy, 16th to 1st. You lucky son of a gun. Is he here, that is?
He's still celebrating.
He's still celebrating. Has he got his mic muted? Is he here?
No, he's gone.
Oh, he's left. No, he'll be rejoining back. It might be Nat type, to be honest.
Might be.
We should hopefully get Andy in to the session. H Racing Green and Sinclair have also been given invites. Right. I think Sinclair might have had to drop off. Hopefully we might get some thoughts on Discord. But hopefully H Racing Green will join in the meantime. I hope I've invited the right H Racing Green account as well.
Yeah, but what a race. That was very much like Canada 2011. I had actually watched that race a few days ago as well, or yesterday when it got posted. Just kind of reminded me of all the different things that can go wrong. I mean, Button had, like, 6 pit stops or something in that race and came back to win it, the last lap. Andy avoided all the carnage at the beginning, played it very, very smart, had good, consistent pace, very fast pace, to be honest. I mean, he was the quickest man on track for a long time, until he started to probably back off a little bit at the end, then just finished the race when he wanted to. So, what race? I mean, I could not have predicted. Nobody could have predicted those results, I think. I mean, maybe H Racing Green in 3rd, but I mean, after the start that he had, along with Speedster, them coming together, the comeback that he was able to produce was a race winner's comeback. Sure.
It was utterly phenomenal. I think, honestly, the racing out on track tonight and being treated to an absolute unreal race. We'll give it a couple of minutes, see if anybody is going to join for the interviews. Let me have a look see what people have been saying in the meantime. Sam might have caused an incident with Zandamar and Bart, possibly. So
yeah, I saw that. Sam might have lost it on the brakes. Looks like he might have re-entered the track dangerously, causing more collision that we saw, maybe that 2nd or 3rd incident that we saw. The 2nd, 3rd part of that incident that we saw. It'd be interesting to kind of see what the drivers say in the Discord, see if we can get down to what actually happened.
Hopefully we will be able to get that for you in the minute. I'm going to check the comments, see if I've missed anything on the YouTube end. We have got Andy joining us back in the commentary box. Can he be heard now? But that resounding...
Andy?
Is he here?
I don't... He may be talking, it may not be registering, it may not be picking up his voice or any audio. So,
oh, there we go.
there's
I hear a better mic coming in. I think Andy's now here. I hope he is. Unless I'm just... Is he here?
I can hear his mic a little bit, but it may still be a bad connection or something.
I wonder if his mic is on the blink.
Yeah, it might be.
It might be. Well, in the meantime, I'll tell you what, I'll check the comments on YouTube. Obviously, we've got H Racing Green and Sinclair. I think Sinclair has had to go and literally go offline after this. Mike isn't working. Hold on, we'll try restarting it and get back into the lobby. And I think that's what Andy has done. He's back in with us now. But I don't know. Hopefully we can get H Racing Green in, as I say, and hopefully he's seen the invite, first and foremost. But honestly, fantastic action out on track. Turn 1 incident obviously going to be investigated. Quite a lot of investigations, I think, going to happen within that race as well. But my God.
Breathe. That was a lot to kind of take in and to kind of watch. That was absolutely, I mean, just all the action you saw from start to finish. Turn 1 again. I'm sure that'll be investigated by the stewards between Speedsta and H Racing Green. Maybe even racing at home a little bit. I'm not sure if he got into contact. But there was just lots of spinnaroos, a lot of people losing the rear end the first 15 minutes of the race, so they got that under control. But you could not have written those results and things happening on the last lap. Emmanuel having to pit for fuel, and along with Matt and Flaky, both the team having to pit about halfway through fuel. So.
Where are we next week, by the way? Barcelona, aren't we?
We're in Barcelona, and it's going to be wet. A Barcelona wet race.
Barcelona wet race. Going to be absolutely fascinating. There is the track as well up on your screen right now. I'm on the track select because I'm the lobby host. So 16 turns away the drivers out on track. It is a traditional Grand Prix layout as well. No DRS, no KERS or anything like that. It's pure LMP3 action, and what will be from a dry race start will come into a wet race, and even the chance of a thunderstorm or two right at the end, which should be quite interesting.
Yeah, those weather conditions is going to make it a very interesting race if it's starting in the dry and ending up with a possible thunderstorm. Maybe we'll see some repeat of Brno from 2 seasons ago, I think, where it was a thunderstorm and flooded the track. You're literally just kind of like, I think it's called aquaplaning across the track, and you have no grip, no traction at all. So Barcelona with its, they'll kill you. It should be a good race.
It should be a fantastic race. H Racing Green, by the way, did ask in Discord, are there interviews on the stream? Well, we're sitting still live here, waiting.
We're here.
We're here. We're not going anywhere. Hopefully he'll join. And he's just typing back to me now. Hopefully he'll be able to jump back. Yes, Andy is here, finally!
I'm having to sit very, very still.
Which I'm sure you don't want to do because you just won a race.
Oh,
that's been absolutely fantastic, man.
Hold on, I need to try and mute. There we go. Yeah.
I can hear somebody there in the background. Andy, 16th to 1st. How on earth did you do it?
Still trying to figure that one out myself, to be honest with you. I was in P7 by the time we came out of turn 1, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Just tried to keep it going from there, but I'm friggin' delighted we're trying to swear, because normally I do.
You can swear. We're nearly past the 10 o'clock broadcast hour here in the UK.
Nah, I'll behave myself for once.
Oh, but honestly, how the race progressed. What happened in turn 1, by the way? Because you were down right at the back of the field. I think you might have got a great start. Did you see what happened in turn 1? Because suddenly you were from wherever you were on the grid up to 6th.
Yeah, 15th up to 6th or 7th there by turn 1. I didn't quite catch what was going on, apart from cars spinning and everywhere, because I was too busy trying to make sure I didn't die myself and get involved in it. I had a car on the inside, I knew there was someone on the outside as well, so I was a bit too busy concentrating on what was going on around me to know what was going on in front.
Professional, any questions?
Congrats, Andy, on I think it's your first CRC win. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, apart from an evaluation race, first proper one. Yeah, first proper podium if you don't include touring cars.
Yeah, but that's just fantastic. I'm so happy for you and for the team as well. It's Bulldog 1-2, Sinclair picking up P2. But I mean, coming back from P16 on the grid, I mean, at what point during the race did you kind of feel like a podium, let alone a win, was possible?
I felt it was on not long after lap 1, to be honest. I was behind Flaky for a while, and then I spun, which cost me a couple of positions. I just put the car on the curb, and it just round she went. It's just curbs are like ice round here in some places, especially in the slow corners. And I had a bump with a manual. I let him back through. Tried to do a switch back at the hairpin, didn't quite work. We got stuck together. And after that, just picked my way through a few cars, and then seen Flaky and I think it was Matter that were in 1-2 head for pit lane. I was like, okay, it's going to be tight, but I think I can make it to the end here. I finished the race with about 3 litres in the car, hence why I stopped at the light to make sure the timer had run out.
Yeah, yeah, we saw that. Yeah, really good on fuel though. Predicting that was very, very tight, very well done.
The fact I didn't get a chance to practice a full hour doing that meant I'd done it as I was going along, but it worked out. For the last 20 minutes I was just lifting coast into the corners, and it was still within about a tenth of my best lap, so I was able to keep the speed into the corners where it needed the brakes, so that helped to keep a wee bit in the car. And yeah, it was just, I was sweating. It's a fair thing to say. But absolutely brilliant, especially with Darren second as well. It's absolutely fantastic. And obviously 1-2 for Bulldog, and that's just absolutely brilliant. And obviously, of course, everyone knows Bulldog Racing is, of course, Sean, Professional, and Ash, who have taken the season out and brought me and Darren in. And I'll be honest, the help that's been given in terms of setup, etc., has just been absolutely brilliant. I came into this, I basically picked a setup and drove around it. I didn't know really how to set a car up properly, but the hints and tips have been amazing, and I can now set consistent lap times without having to be on the limit constantly. It makes such a difference to a race, especially when it's an hour long. So absolutely delighted, and hoping next week in Barcelona I can get another good result.
And I was
Speaking of
gonna
Barcelona,
go on.
Sorry, James, go ahead.
I was going to say, in Barcelona, obviously, it is going to be a wet race. How does that set you in the mindset for next week? How do you approach that?
I approach it just like any other race, try and get some practice in when time allows, when work allows, etc. I'll probably concentrate more on how the car feels within the most extreme of the conditions. Probably the best thing to do, I think, somewhere in that heavy rain situation. I don't mind the rain normally. Usually do not too bad. I think the way I like to apply the brakes and apply the throttle seems to work not too bad in the race. In before I spin about 16 times next week now. But yeah, I mean, it's the same for everybody, so I'll approach it as normal, try and get myself a setup I'm happy with, and hopefully another good result will be on the cards. I'd love to get back on the podium, but we'll need to wait and see, obviously. First wet race of the season, so it's hard to tell where everybody is, obviously.
Andy, there?
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm done.
Sorry,
You're done?
It sounded like you had cut off for just for a second. I'm like, Andy, you there?
No, I was waiting on Professional to speak. That's what it was. Goodness me.
Gotcha.
But
No, it was such a good race, Andy, and it was a pleasure watching you driving and really controlling that car very well. So congrats again. Looking forward to seeing more of you on the podium and more wins this season.
Yeah, I'd like that indeed. Thanks, Sean. Thanks very much, mate.
And as well, Andy, you now follow in the footsteps of one Kieran McGinley with a win.
Yes.
in Commentators Corner. To me next, I think.
Yeah, he still likes to. He was still reminding me of that as recently as about 3-4 weeks ago when we were talking about this. So it's nice to finally get that win on the cards properly as well. I did have one in TTP cards, but this one from the back of the grid, considering the issues in qualifying, seeing me drop out of the session and back in to come from the back of the field and come through is just it's just absolutely brilliant.
Well, I think it just writes the script, honestly, I think, to say anything can and probably will happen in CRC moving forward, and especially with a wet race next week. Andy, it has been an absolute pleasure. Go and get a cold drink down here. You deserve it. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys. Great stream as always. I was catching bits in between qualifying. Look forward to watching it back as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andy.
Yes.
And that, I think, is all we've got time for. I'm going to try and nick H Racing Green in. I'm desperate. Because he apparently he said there's... Yeah, absolutely unreal drive, I think, out on track from Andy, and it just comes to show, and you can hear it in his voice really, how proud he is of that. I think he had his girlfriend on in the background, who we unfortunately muted because he had to do his interview, so I do apologise to her if she's going to watch this later as well, but hopefully we will be getting in a H Racing Green, a wild H Racing Green in. I have given him another invite, so I'm not sure if he's got it, but I know for a fact that my the online stuff isn't working on my friends list. So I'm not sure if PSN's down or not.
Might be. Your voice is cutting in and out as well, so connection's probably going just a little bit. Let me see if I got him. Yeah, it might be the network.
It's probably because I got my iPad on Wi-Fi. There we go.
Gotcha.
You can probably just hear me shutting my curtains there in the background because it is getting very dark here in the northeast of England where I live. But I think that is just a fantastic race, obviously, that we've had. Hopefully, as I say, we will get H Racing Green. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes and then we'll end off the stream here. But, Professional, final thoughts from you. How do you rate that race?
Let's see, out of 10, I'd probably give it a solid, honestly, like a 9, like 8.5 or 9, because it had action and had a lot of strange things happening, you know, whether it was for good, for bad. A lot of people picking up pieces as disconnections, people pitting for fuel. But that's racing, and that's what racing is. So sometimes you're very fortunate. In this case, Andy was very fortunate and was in the right place at the right time, made all the right calls, put his car in a good position at the start of the race, and was able to pick up P1 today. And I think that just kind of shows that you can come back from P16 or P18, P10, wherever. You know, drive smart, drive consistent. If he does that the rest of the season, he may be a championship contender. But definitely a regular race winner as well.
Yeah, it is going to be fantastic to see and see the progression of the drivers, I think, during the course of the season. We're still only in the early rounds, so don't really grasp a hold of anything that has came out of this race, or indeed the race beforehand as well. We have got a suggestion to the party. It will be, of course, my good friend that we are trying to get into the party. That's a 3rd invite now he's been given. Hopefully he's online. I hope he's online and he's seeing these invites. This will be quite bad. We'll give it another 2 minutes and then we will end the stream here. And yeah, we're just rattling on and waffling on, I think, at this point now. Or certainly I am. But we go next week to Barcelona, to the Circuit de Catalunya. What are we expecting from the guys there?
Ooh, well, it's gonna be wet, but as you said, it's gonna start dry, right? Dry?
It's gonna start cloudy, I think, and then it'll turn to light rain, heavy rain, then storm, apparently.
So this kind of reminds me a little bit of Nürburgring from last season in GT3s, where it started dry, but within about 7 to 8, 9 minutes it started to rain. And so we had a lot of people starting on the wets, a lot of people starting on the dry tires. Actually, I think most of the grid started on dry tires. I think myself and Ash, some other guys started on the wets. We were slower because of the dry conditions, but once the rain started to fall, we were fine. People had to pit, and they lost more time in the pits to where if they would have started on the wet tires. So I kind of predict that next week in Barcelona we may see some of the same thing. Maybe people starting on the wet tires in the dry conditions at the start. Try not to overheat those tires, wait until the rain comes, and then they'll be fine until the end of the race. They may have to pit again depending on how bad the rain is, depending on maybe fuel. But I think the rain conditions are going to mix it up again. If we're looking for a normal race, next week is not the race to watch. I think it's going to be crazy, more so than it was today.
Or if you want to watch a crazy race where about anything can happen, then tune in. Because, by God, we weren't expecting it here tonight, and then look what we got. A crazy race, which landed with Andy winning. And remarkably, I can see somebody has joined us. It is our third place man, of course, H Racing Green. I'm under the impression, H Racing Green, Harry, you are still the championship leader coming into Barcelona next week. Talk us through your race, first of all.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I'm still championship leader. It was... as I expected, really. I knew right away that Portugal on the 1st of July is boiling, and so my strategy to run 3 soft tyres, 1 hard tyre went out the window, and I had to run hards on all 4 corners, and was well aware that I needed to not make a pit stop to make up as much time as possible. Spent a lot of the race fuel saving. The race though was pretty compromised from turn 1 though. Obviously was nudged I don't really know the circumstances yet. I haven't watched it back in close enough detail, but really that compromised it straight away, and it was basically just a recovery drive, trying to save as much fuel as I could, be consistent, just hit the marks and get the best out of it that I could. Not too disappointed with the result in the end, really. Possibly should have been 2nd place. I let Darren through thinking he had to make a pit stop, and he didn't in the end, so that was my mistake. But no, generally happy to keep the championship lead and just get more points on the board, which is important at this stage, really.
Professional,
Very
any
nice.
questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you were having a fuel save from pretty much the beginning to the end of the race. So if you did not fuel save, if you were just kind of driving normally, driving aggressive, putting in the push laps every lap, would you have had to pit for the end of the race?
Yeah, definitely. So I was working it out on the fly. I mean, on a push lap, I would have been using 2.7 laps of fuel, and I needed to hit an average of 2.7 liters of lap. Oh God, I'll start again. If on a flying lap, I would use 2.7 liters of fuel per lap. And I worked out I needed to hit the mark of about 2.25 to 2.3 liters of fuel per lap to make the end of the race. So on a flying lap, I wouldn't have ever made that mark. I couldn't drive that quickly and save the fuel, so I knew I had to compromise some pace. I wasn't expecting to have to compromise that much pace, actually, in honesty. I thought I'd have been able to drive faster and save fuel, but it just turned out I couldn't. I just had to keep getting slower and slower and slower. And I think retrospectively I could have run the softs because I was driving so slowly there was no chance that the softs would actually have overheated in the end. But that's hindsight, and it's brilliant and whatever. Looking at the pace then and how the race panned out, without the turn 1 incident and possibly driving flat out, I might have been able to make a pit stop up, but I very much doubt it. I think it was the right call. It was just sort of unfortunate that was the way I had to run it.
Interesting, gotcha. Well, it was still a really good comeback drive from you from P10, P11 after the turn 1 incident. So again, congratulations on a podium, and hopefully to see you in your winning ways again next week in Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona is one of my absolute favourite tracks on any game, so hopefully...
Well, it's going to be in the wet, so I'm not sure if it's going to affect the driving.
The wet is even better, so...
Ooh, very nice.
So,
A man...
hopefully...
Oh, go on.
Oh yeah, I was just say hopefully I can get back sort of nearer the top of the podium, hopefully with less fuel saving antics, because that's not the kind of race I enjoy the most. I like to be able to
absolutely not. Yeah, it was a having the fuel saving, why not? So yeah, good race.
Yeah, thank you, cheers.
A man full of confidence there, I think, with H Racing Green. Thank you so much, and I'll let you get on your way.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers for the stream, guys. I'll watch it back later. But cheers, nice one. See you
No
next week.
worries, see ya.
See ya.
And that is H Racing Green coming in for his third place interview. We're going to rattle off the stream here, where swearing is probably going to be allowed from about now, because it's now gone 10 o'clock here in the UK. But fantastic action. Sean, professional, thank you so much for commentating alongside me. You're going to be back with us next week in Barcelona?
Should be, at least, yeah, that stands as the plan. I'm doing the 24 hours of Le Mans next weekend, next Saturday, Sunday on iRacing, so I'm sure there'll be kind of a point where I can jump in and commentate. I think it may start after, the race may start like later tonight for you, later this evening for me, so we'll just have to see. So I should be back next weekend. If not, I will then definitely see everybody back in round number 4, which I believe is what?
I believe. Let's have a look at the calendar. It's Barcelona next week.
Le Mans.
And then
Go figure.
Le Mans.
Round 4 at Le Mans. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That'll be fun.
And that is a dry race, I think, as well, which is fantastic for us. And of course, it would have been the Le Mans. The real race in Le Mans this weekend has been postponed, of course, till September. Good luck with that, first and foremost, if you don't get to see me next week. Yeah, that is it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. For myself and Sean, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.